What's going on, everybody? This is my Q&A. I'm Roy Cannaday. I'm the editor here at the Dice Tower, and I kind of do all sorts of different things. But yeah, I'd love for you guys to all ask me some questions. All the guys are coming back from Essen today. I think the spiel ended yesterday, and they're all flying back. So hopefully their travels are safe and there's no delays and things like that. Tomorrow, me and Tom's gonna have me help run the. I think they're gonna show off a bunch of the games that they got back from Essen and things that hopefully we can get played and get reviewed for you soon, so you know if those games are awesome or not. Well, make sure to leave in the comments your questions and I will get to those. I actually had this week off at work today because Tom had done all of his reviews and we basically preloaded this entire past week. So I went up to North Carolina to visit my family there. I got to see my nephew for the first time, which was super awesome. He was born 4 months ago and I hadn't been able to go back up to North Carolina to see him yet. So that was super cool. And we stopped by Disney on the way, saw the new Star Wars park thing there. And me and my wife had blue and green milk, the good stuff. And yeah, I got to go to a convention while I was up there with some friends, a local convention up there in North Carolina, Mega Moose Con, so that was fun as well. If you guys have any questions, make sure to leave them, and I will, get to it and see what you guys are up to. Awesome. Everybody's saying hi. Hi, everybody. Hey, hey, hey. Kent Parker's in chat. Kent was at Mega Moose Con with me. We played some new games. It was cool. But yeah. Nice. There's some really good thumbnails and intros lately. I really want to go and change everything. Honestly, we do so much content and there's so many reviews that I try to stay on top of that, and we're always trying to review all the board games. So we definitely are trying to get all those out, but I really want to focus on going back and redoing all the intros and trying to just make things better and just continue to improve everything here at the Dice Tower, but also be able to continue to give you all that content you love and maybe share some board games you've never heard of before, because everybody talks about the hot games. We talk about the hot games and all the other games, which is cool. Nice. Awesome. But yeah, if you have any questions, make sure to leave them down below and we can get talking about those things. But yeah, so I went to Mega Moose Con. That was a convention, I guess, down in South Carolina. It's a convention I've been to a lot because it was sort of it's not super local to where I was in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, but it was close enough that I could travel down there. I got to hang out with Marty and Tony from Rolling Dice and Taking Names, so that was super fun. And we played, what all did I play? I played Unmatched 3 players, which was pretty cool because we played a free-for-all. I played Aftermath, and I played Silver. What else did I play? I think that was about it. I didn't play a whole lot of games because I was mostly going up to North Carolina to visit family, but it was cool to stop by and see a bunch of cool people. Awesome. Am I going to get my dice character tattooed? It's kind of funny because Robert Geislinger was actually kind of joking around, oh man, we should do this tattoo thing. The only way I would do it is if a bunch of other contributors were doing it at the same time, and it'd be so hard because we go to these conventions and you want to spend time playing board games, and doing tattoos takes a long time. But and there's this thing about getting a thing tattooed. And then it feels if anything ever happens to that, it kind of ruins it. I don't know. That's why you never get names tattooed, just because that's the kiss of death for whoever you got tattooed on your name. Have I ever been to Essen? I have not actually been to Essen yet. The very first time I'd ever been out of the United States was when we did the cruise, and we went to Jamaica and Haiti on the cruise last year. And that was the first time I'd ever been out of the United States in general. So I haven't ever been to Essen. That would be one that'd be super fun to go to. Tom said maybe here next time that might happen. We'll see. But I've been to so many conventions this year. It's kind of insane. It's good to sit back and be able to have time with family as well. Because it's been a lot. But it's been awesome. Nice. Let's see what else. let's see. Hey Roy, I love your segments on the Dice Tower. As a UK gamer, it's tricky to go to Dice Tower cons in the US. Are there plans for you guys to visit the UK? I know that Tom and Z, I know just last year did the UK Gaming Expo, and I think that's kind of sort of in our rotation now. So I'm not sure 100% if we're going to the UK Gaming Expo next year, but you can definitely hit up and see the guys there. So who knows if I'll be at anything like that, but because there's a lot of conventions to go to. But yeah, so hopefully hit them up there. Let's see. Nick says, are you coming up to Orlando for games next weekend? I'm not quite sure what's going on next weekend for games, but I'm not planning to go back up to Orlando again. Unless you have a place for me to stay, Nick. I'll bring my whole family, and we'll go to Disney, and we'll play games, and they'll have fun. But let me know. Hit me up. Anyway. Do you have a top anticipated games list from Essen? I haven't gone through and actually made a list or anything like that since I don't have a list for the podcast like I used to for Epic Gaming Night anymore. And the guys did their top 10 list, and there were a lot of games on their top 10 list that I've already played or are also excited about. And I'm now in that situation where it's I don't know which games are the new games coming out of Essen or which games are not. I know they released the new Marvel Champions, which me and Tom just did a review of, and I am excited to get that game. I was texting the owner of the Cool Stuff because I have mine on pre-order. I'm like, hey man, I saw some stores were releasing it early. Let me know if it's coming in. If he emails me back today and says, yeah, we have it, I'm probably going to go to Cool Stuff after work today to go get my copy. I'm not addicted to LCGs. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, that was a fun game, so I'm excited to play that more solo. I'm actually more excited for the expansions for that. And then I've already played some of the Keyforge because Tom did a review of that and gave me the copies of Keyforge after that. I don't know, I really like the thematic game, so there's a ton of games that came out at Essen. I'm not exactly sure which ones did and which ones didn't. Clank Legacy is another one that I know I think was at Essen, but that's another one that we played through the whole thing and I really loved it. So yeah, there's probably a ton of games that I will be excited when they bring them into the studio tomorrow. Do I find my accent changing after moving to Florida? I have no clue. I don't know. You guys would have to let me know if my accent has changed. I don't know. I probably watch a lot more internet and stuff from everywhere. I hate that I know that I have a little southern twinge. I was born in Georgia and I spent most of my life in Virginia, and then my teenage years were sort of in North Carolina. So my early when I was a kid I was in Virginia, that was in North Carolina, so it's just all the southern part, and plenty of people from that area have that southern accent. So I in case I ever want to forget or surround myself with that more, I go hang out with the Rolling Dice Taking Names guys because they're the Southern boys. North Carolina represent. Awesome. Do you sit at Tom's desk while he's away? Well, Tom technically has a standing desk, so Tom doesn't even sit at Tom's desk. It's kind of funny because he'll do his emails and stuff, but majority of the time he's in this room recording stuff, and if he's not in this room recording stuff, I'm fussing at him to come in this room and record stuff. But because I always like to try to be ahead on as much stuff as possible, because the faster he gets it to me, the faster I can edit it, and the faster we can just have everything ready to go. We have so many live things that's just do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Okay, we're going live. Okay, now do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. It's very, lots of things going on all the time, and he has so many different shows he'd give Board Game Breakfast stuff to Chris, and okay, here's this top 10 for this person. Okay, now we got to get all the pictures for all the different stuff. It's really crazy. There's a lot of content we do here on the channel, but I don't think people realize all the prep time and all the work that goes into getting everything in the right place so that things don't fall apart, especially when live things are involved. But as far as sitting at Tom's desk, no one sits at Tom's desk. And he's in his own room with Kenny, and no one wants to go in there. Nice. Let's see here. This says, "Hey Roy, I went to SN and got Quad Heroes, The Magnificent Walking Dead, a whole bunch of different games." Cool. And Tapestry. So Halo got a whole bunch of different games from SN. That's some pretty cool stuff. I actually painted a bunch of the Quad Heroes guys, and I love the little sculpts from that. But yeah, and I still haven't played Tapestry. I keep getting like mixed opinions on like whether the hype is real or not, and I feel like I should try it just because it's a Civ. Well, everybody says it's not actually a Civ game, but it might be fun to try. Nick says, "I'm so excited to have my copy of Clank Legacy, but now the real challenge is getting everyone together to play it." I totally agree. Like, these Legacy games are ridiculously hard to like continue with the same group. It's kind of crazy because I played role-playing games and D&D for like a long time. Like, majority of like, I played Game World growing up, and then I played D&D after I kind of like moved out, and I ran D&D things. But it's just kind of like, I got into board games primarily because you don't have to have the same group every single time, and you can throw it on the table and immediately play the board game and have a great fun experience. And with these Legacy games, it brings it back to like, you have to have a scheduled out thing, and you have to get back together over and over again, because if you don't do it right and it falls apart, it's just like your D&D game. If it falls apart too many times, it's hard to get everybody back together. But I feel like Clank Legacy is one that's definitely worth playing through. And I think it's only like 10, 11 games, something like that, so it won't take as long to play through the whole thing. And it's replayable when you're done, which is really cool. But yeah, Clank Legacy is the first big Legacy game that I actually finished. And that was hard to do too, because, I mean, like I said, we're always working, trying to get everything done. And Tom's like, "Hey, can we do Clank Legacy today?" And I'm just like, let me finish editing this or do that. And Sam's like, "Oh, I got to do this and this and this." So just even us all here at the same place every day, we still had to figure out a way to fit it and squeeze it into our schedule so we could get that final review out for you guys. But yeah, the other one I've played through is Werewolf Legacy, which we did all in one day, which was pretty fun too. But really expensive and not worth the price. Did you ask the guys to bring games from Essen Spiel back to you? Well, it's kind of funny because the way things work here is all the games come into the Dice Tower, like all of them. And then they split them up to do unboxings and reviews and all that stuff. And then they either A, make it into the Dice Tower library, or B, go into a pile of where we're kind of allowed to like look and see if it's something we'd be interested in. But if they didn't make it into the Dice Tower library, that's probably because somebody didn't actually like it that much. So it's kind of like, honestly, I don't have a whole lot of space for games where I'm staying at, so I didn't ask for any specific games or anything like that. Honestly, these days I just play whatever happens and comes. Like, I want to know that a game's good before I play it anyway, so I did not ask them to bring any games back for me. I also don't have much room for games. I just watched the combo review with Tom of Marvel Champions. I suspect me and the wife will go into that. We do like our 2-player games. Yeah, I feel like I played it a bunch solo, and I played it a few times 2 players. Like, solo and 2 players for that game feel a lot better because the game's just quicker in general. The way the game works is like the enemy hit points multiply times the number of heroes that are in the game. So the more players you play with, the longer the game takes overall. I mean, in theory, if all the players are really good, you could hopefully be putting out enough damage to make it not seem longer, but it always seems like the game takes longer. It would be interesting to play a higher player count game with a lot of skilled players to see if that changes, but most of the time I played with 4 players. We were all kind of like green on the game, and we didn't quite know how to best play. But you know, it's one of those games where you can build decks and min-max however much you want, and you can kind of set the difficulty level where you want. But it was definitely super fun, especially if you like Marvel. Have you or do you ever plan to make a game? If so, what would it be about? I'm not sure how much I want to talk about that. I recently had a game that went all the way to a publisher and they really wanted it, but they decided that, like, due to production issues, they weren't going to be able to make it the way they wanted for the price they wanted, so they sent it back to me. So I actually have a game that I'm working on. I don't want to, like, spoil too much or anything of that, but I'm going to be pitching it around to some more people. But I'm really excited about it, but we'll see what happens. Honestly, like, messing around with making games is just like a side thing for me. I really enjoy the whole board game media and working on board game media and all that stuff. So messing around with game design is just like a side thing, and I just have fun with it. But don't be surprised if something happens someday. Maybe if I get lucky, or maybe I'll just get bored with it and throw it in the trash. Orlando Games Con is this weekend. I don't even know what Orlando Games Con is, Nick. See, listen, you can't tell people these things 1 week ahead of time. You gotta alert people much earlier. That's a 3.5 hour drive, sir. Nice. Vincent says my accent is great. Nice, thanks, Vincent. Whatever. Let's see. What is your best upgrade to your games from 3D printing? Also, have you gone out of your way to buy component upgrades for a game of your own? I recently bought better pieces for Wingspan. Worth it! Exclamation point. Yeah, I like upgrading games and things like that. Majority of the time, for me, as far as like buying upgrades, I always was conflicted in between, do I upgrade a game that I really like, or do I get another game? Especially when I was trying to like get lots of games and have a collection that was well-rounded, and I could always be like picking out games that my game group would want to play. But it's kind of different now. I feel like I've switched from wanting like to buy more games and get more games because I don't necessarily have the space, and it would be really cool to have like all the games that I have be upgraded similar to like how it is in the Dice Tower library. But then on top of that, I have access to all of the Dice Tower library anyway. I'd say as far as 3D printing goes, I printed out some towers. I actually designed them and made them for Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, and I really like those because they replace like the cardboard towers that are in the game. I now can have plastic towers, and I got the right colors for all of the different factions. I'm thinking about bringing one of those and putting it in the Dice Tower library, since I play the Dice Tower library's version of Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea more than my own. So I'll probably do that, so that way I can play with that when I'm out on the go, and in theory it'll make our copy here at the Dice Tower a little bit sturdier, because we're going to travel with it from Dice Tower East to Dice Tower West to Retreat to Cruise, and it'd be good to have plastic components instead of cardboard. But yeah. Can you sit on Tom's desk instead? There's a bunch of stuff on Tom's desk, and I don't know where this parkour experiment's going that you're talking about here, but that's kind of crazy. Hi, Roy. Would you enjoy being part of the Dice Tower's top 10s? I mean, sure, if it happens. I'm not sure what the whole deal is going to be. I think maybe Tom's going to be like a rotating chair for top 10s for a little while once that happens, but that's still a little ways out. But yeah, I am actually always a part of the top 10s because I'm constantly over there running the screen behind them that says all the different numbers. I know all of their top 10s before they actually show up, and when they mess up, it's like, well, you gave it to me this way, I have it on the thing this way, and I get to run the PowerPoint and make it say all the numbers and all that stuff, and I have fun doing that, but I'd also have fun trying to come up with lists too. Either way, but yeah, I've done several top 10s on the channel before. That's been just me. I've done like holiday ones. I've done like top 10s of the year. I actually have an entire top 100 on the channel, but I think that's, what's that? It was like 2016, so it's a few years old now, so who knows? Oh, and then he clarifies, not as an editor, of course. Yeah, I normally do it as an editor. Got Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. Love the game, but need a good storage solution. Any suggestions? Don't we all? No, I mean, I'm not 100% sure the best way to store it. I know they come with the plastic trays, but that takes up so much space. I don't want to have all 3 boxes to play the game. I basically just put all my stuff in bags and just threw it all into one box, which is hard to do unless you have like plastic towers to help it not destroy everything when you throw it all in there. But yeah, I'm not sure the best way to store it. In the Dice Tower library, we still have two different boxes. We have all the core game stuff in one box, and all of the expansion characters and like floating island and all that stuff in one of the other boxes. So there's not really a good answer. I'm not really sure. I'm still looking for myself. I've seen some like 3D printed type stuff or like some foam core type stuff that people have done, but it just seems to take up a lot of space in that box, and I really wish I could figure out a way to make it all fit in one. But somebody like Broken Token or one of these other like Daedalus, like somebody make one of these things for Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. I would have to buy it because I would love to be able to fit it all or figure out a way to make it all work and look really nice inside one box. Get on it, laser cutters. Nice. My wife's saying that my games have taken over the closet. Well, it's better than taking over the living room like it was before. But yeah, I have way less games than I used to before we moved. But yeah. You may have been asked already, but are you going to PAX Unplugged? I would love to say hi. We are going to PAX Unplugged, and I'm super excited. I really enjoyed that con last year. And it'll be cool to go this time with the Dice Tower, and we should have a booth and everything. And I think we're going to do like a top 10 list there as well. I think Tom's like saying it's one of the last live top 10 lists with Sam, which everybody should be there to check that out as well. Make sure you sign up to go to the top 10 list. And it should be fun. I really enjoyed all the different stuff around Philadelphia. There's like great food and hang out with the guys. And hopefully, if anybody's there and sees me, come say hi. It should be super awesome. And yeah, PAX Unplugged hype. Did you ask them to bring back any candy for you? No, but who knows? They might have tons of snacks, too many that they can't eat. So I know last year they got a bunch of stuff and ended up getting lost or something, and they were disappointed because so many people had brought them lots of awesome things. How do you get your hair so perfect all the time? Thanks, Jeremiah. Mostly just got to be glued hair glue. I've used that for like a decade now, plus maybe. It's been a really long time. But yeah, get out of the shower, put it in your hair, done. I expect to see you with spiky hair next time, Jeremiah. Not of all time, but favorite band you're listening to right now. I've been listening to a lot of the Wonder Years. I have like a Wonder Years playlist that I basically, not playlist, but I always have them on Pandora because it plays a lot of the same type of music. It's like easy core pop punk with breakdowns, whatever. I really enjoy pop punk type stuff, and they're a newer band that's like pop punk. I guess they're not newer anymore. They're still they're pretty old. Everything's relative when it comes to music. But I still really enjoy like that genre of music, like Newfound Glory and MXPX and all that stuff. So yeah, that helps me get through my work day sometimes. When I'm like, time to work, I put on Wonder Years Pandora and just like edit things. I know, right? So many games coming in Essen. There's no space to store them all. That's what we're kind of gonna be like here. We got our review shelf like down to where there's still just a little bit of stuff on there, and we had sent some stuff out to some of our other awesome reviewers, like contributors and things like that. But now we're gonna have this huge influx of Essen games. So the cool thing is there'll be a lot of good ones in there, which the guys will be excited to play and review. Good morning, Roy. What's the best advice you can give to up-and-coming board game designers? Honestly, just be a student of board game design. Like, there are so many resources out there to learn more about the craft of board game design and things like that. If you haven't listened to the Dice Towers Board Game University, I would suggest listening to the entire thing. It's actually pretty old at this point, but Tom went through and interviewed a whole bunch of different designers, and basically just talked to them about the games they've designed and like their philosophy on game design and stuff like that. But then on top of that, just play lots and lots of games out there. I wouldn't say to borrow mechanisms from here or there. Try to figure out how you have your game and how you can make it stand apart in the market, because there are so many good games that people can't play all the good games that are out there. There are so many great games that like great games out there get lost in the shuffle. So if you're going to make a game or you're going to be a game designer, you really want to have something that stands apart, that's just above and beyond, and something that publishers will really want to latch onto, that they can actually market. So that might have been even more than you thought you were going to get from that question. Let's see. Hi, Roy. People have been comparing me to you all over Board Game Breakfast. Laugh out loud. Not sure if you've watched my segment at all. Yeah, I've seen your segment. It's cool. Like, if they're comparing us together, that means we both have to be awesome, right? So, hype. Keep it up. Have you played Magic the Gathering Arena on the computer? I haven't yet. I think maybe I messed around with it. No, I don't think I actually installed it. I know I've watched people play it before and things like that. I was slightly interested. I did Hearthstone for like a while and stuff like that. I don't necessarily take a whole lot of time to play his video games, but I played Magic a ton back in the day. I don't necessarily want to get addicted to Magic Arena, so I've kind of been like shying away. And majority of the time when I have downtime, I use it to work on more things. I've got so many things going on all the time. It's like, hey, I'm going to work on this podcast thing, or hey, I'm going to do other stuff. Or specifically when I have downtime or things I'm not doing stuff, I try to make sure to strengthen like the relationships with my family and make sure to hang out with them and like go out and do stuff with my wife and kids when I'm away, or when I have time to do that sort of stuff, because there's so many times when we're at conventions or away that you definitely have to bring it back and build those relationships with friends and family. But Magic Arena is probably pretty fun. And I saw that they were doing something crazy, like you could play with any card, and if you won a tournament, you get to keep all the cards or something like that, which seemed really cool. Hey, ho, let's go, Johnny C. What's the last game that really surprised you, good or bad, after your first play? I don't know. I try to like research games and stuff before I play them, especially with the limited amount of time that we sometimes have to play these games, so that I try to stay away from bad games. I'm not sure which game has like surprised me. I really enjoyed, we played, what's that game called? Awkward Guest. And that was a ton of fun. I thought that I might like it, but I thought it was actually really, really good and a whole lot of fun, especially for deduction. And it was kind of surprising how there's deduction in the game, but like you're kind of getting these cards for the different characters and different people are saying stuff. But some of the characters can actually like mislead you, and using the information that you get to figure out kind of like, oh, that guy's just dumb and he's lying. And that helping you figure out all the pieces to the puzzle. That was kind of like surprising and interesting, and I really enjoyed the way that Awkward Guest did that for a deduction game. And so I guess Awkward Guest would be a good one. I knew that Tom really liked it, so I guess it was just surprising the fact that, oh, they made it so that this character was lying to you, and you have to figure out how to mentally deal with that yourself to be able to figure out the answer. What's your most played game so far in 2019? Just most played, no matter the release date or ranking. I definitely has to be Clank Legacy. I mean, It's hard to play a whole bunch of games a lot of times. I mean, I know I've played Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea a lot, but we played Clank Legacy 11 times. And I don't quite think I've played Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea as much as that. I played Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea at every Dice Tower convention thing we went to, and then I also played it at Gen Con. It's close between Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea and Clank Legacy, actually. But yeah, Heroes is one of those games that everybody always asks me to play or wants me to bring out at these Dice Tower things because they know that I really enjoy it. And it's a big game, and I can teach it really well. So it helps people get into the game and understand what I enjoy so much about it. So it's cool to play it with people. But I think Clank Legacy still wins because it's hard to get a game played more than like 10, 11 times. Definitely that's the most recent overall. Do you listen to real punk music? Come on. Is this still going on? Come on, Jimmy. Come on. No, there's all sorts of different branches and brands of alternative music and punk music, and everybody always gets into the semantics of that's not heavy enough, or that's not hardcore enough, or that's not old enough, and come on. Like, I'm 34, like, I don't have time for this. Real punk music. Real punks like whatever music they want. No, it's fine. Awesome. Roy, you make it look easy talking on camera. When I record myself, I feel self-conscious most of the time and get a bit awkward. Do you have any tips for me on getting better? Honestly, just do it more. Like, I mean, everybody who starts out is going to be awkward and self-conscious and like worried about how they sound and worried about like if they're saying things right. Like really, it just comes with experience and practice. I mean, I did a lot of, when I first started doing board game media, we kind of did live board game playthroughs on Twitch, which nobody watched. But we just talked and had fun and stuff like that. But then we started doing the podcast. And the first podcasts were super awkward and like, we're kind of like, okay, how do we not trip over each other speaking, and how do we not sound dumb or whatever? But it's just doing it more and more and more, and we got into like 200 something episodes, and after 200 episodes of doing something, and then I started doing the video stuff on the Dice Tower. I'm sure the first stuff that I did on video sounded super nervous and like, oh my goodness. But it just comes with doing it more, and I don't script out any of my stuff. I always just kind of do it off the cuff. So I just think about what I want to say, think about how I want to express things, and then just kind of word vomit it out there. But it's fun. So, and just keep at it, keep trying, and you'll definitely get better at it. And just try not to take it too seriously. You know, you're always going to have critics. You're always going to have people that don't like this or that, or don't agree with you on games, or don't agree with you on whatever you're talking about. But just remember, like, take the good criticism and try to improve, and the crazy criticism, just you have to leave it on the doorstep and just get better at it and do it more. Hype. What's the most exciting con you've been to and why? Oh man. Exciting is the thing that we're using. I really, really enjoy the Dice Tower cons, not necessarily because they're exciting, but because I get to hang out with actual people and actually get to play games and actually get to build relationships and friendships, and we get to do all of our Dice Tower stuff at those, which are still fun to do. But as far as like exciting and crazy, like Gen Con's definitely the craziest one I've been to. And there's people buzzing all around, and like there's massive like swaths of people. I saw pictures from Essen, and I feel like that's the same way. It's just like massive amounts of people like storming the exhibit hall. But for me, my favorite cons are definitely the Dice Tower ones. If you want to talk about just crazy exciting stuff, that's Gen Con. But you don't really get to spend time with people. It's harder to get games played there because they don't really have dedicated areas to do that sort of thing. It's hard to even spend time with the people that you want to spend time with because everybody's so busy because it's Gen Con. But it's definitely exciting. Let's see. What's your secret of work-life balance? Getting the tons of work done you do and still keep the family as your focus. Honestly, I try to make sure to, like, if I've just gone to a con or different things like that, there's lots of game nights I could go to here in Miami. And, like, if I just got back from a con, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go to game night, or I'm not going to force trying to do that. I'm going to, like, spend time with my wife and kids, and we just work together on, like, doing homework with my kids. My kids are both in elementary school, so they're going through the phase of us really having to help them with their homework. So making sure my wife does a ton of that, and sometimes when I'm there in time, I'll, like, help out with that. And then just the weekends, we try to do stuff together as a family. We just figure out different interesting things to do. Maybe we'll just go shopping together. We'll go to the mall together. We'll go watch a movie together. And sometimes we were trying to start having, like, movie nights where we sit down and do a movie, or we'll play a board game together. But after the babies go to sleep, sometimes it's like, all right, time to do this podcast or time to do this other thing. And then when I'm here at work, it's just like work, work, work. So, yeah, I don't know. You just have to make sure to make time for that sort of stuff, and not just because you have to make time for it, but because you want to. You want to spend time with your family and spend time with the ones that you care about, and it's very important because you could easily get swept away in playing all the newest, hottest board games and doing all these reviews and stuff. I have opportunity to do tons of that, but I definitely need to spend time and build those relationships. Do you video game in addition to board games? That's another reason that I have more time, because I don't spend a whole lot of time playing video games or watching TV at all. Like, I watch YouTube stuff, but majority of the time that's, like, educational. So that's sort of like trying to learn more about board games or learn more about, I don't know, science and weird crap. I don't know. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. But I do play some. I've tried to take a little bit of time to play. I got the new Zelda game, the one that used to be on Game Boy. What is it? Link's Awakening? I think that's the name of it. But I got that for Switch, and I've really been enjoying that. I really want to try to, like, play the new Pokemon game when it comes out. But once again, that's another time sink, which leads to something that's not necessarily as productive as I could be doing. But I would really like to play it. Me and my wife both want to get it and try to play some Pokemon and stuff. It should be fun. But yes, I do like video games, but mostly just Switch games, and I don't do anything hardcore, and definitely stay away from a lot of the stuff that would be a super huge time sink. Is there any chance of a studio gear tour showing us techniques like what mics, mixers, and such you use for podcasting, streaming, and video recording? I feel like that'd be such a niche thing on our channel. I'm sure there'd be people that'd be interested in it, but I don't know that. I mean, there's tons of people out there that have all sorts of tech things and different things like that. I mean, I don't know that an in-depth thing would be as appealing, seeing that we're a board game channel and not a how-to-do a podcast channel. But maybe someday, who knows? We've done behind-the-scenes thing and just shown off stuff a little bit, but not anything like in-depth of, like, this wire plugs into here, sort of thing. Any tips to eating healthy at cons? Still on the whole 30 while at the con this weekend. Yeah, I probably don't eat healthy at cons either, so I don't know that I necessarily have any tips. Yeah, normally it's terrible at cons for me eating. So I'm not quite sure what good tips would be. I've done things where I'm like, I'm super broke. I'm just gonna bring, like, peanut butter sandwiches to a con, to like just going out to random fast food places. Who knows? But yeah, we probably all should be healthier at cons. Just make sure you drink water, Nick. Don't get dehydrated. Make sure you get enough sleep. Nice. +1 for 8-player heroes. Yeah, 8-player heroes was awesome and pretty crazy. I don't know if I'll do it anytime soon, but it was fun when we did it. Huh. Any recommendations for a cheap but solid overhead tripod setup for an iPhone/camera? We don't actually have a tripod that we did overhead with. We actually mounted a thing to the ceiling. I think like on my Facebook there's like a picture that I posted. But we mounted a thing to the ceiling and we have a DSLR camera up there to point down that we can like zoom into different spots in the frame. I don't know. I feel like there's probably lots of recommendations on YouTube for that sort of thing. But I know you can get those tripods that kind of like go out and you can weight them down on one side. But I don't know what's cheap. The thing we got was decently cheap, but that might be too far away if you don't have something that can zoom in well. Roy, how was Essen? I hope it was great. I didn't go to Essen, but the guys will be flying back today. And they did a couple live things there, which I thought was really cool. The Essen crew had like a live setup, and they actually streamed that to our channel. So make sure to check that out. Tom did a playthrough of Empires of the North with Ignacy, and then also Z and Tom and Efka and Elaine from No Pun Included did a kind of like top 10 reasons you should go to Essen, and then also did like a Q&A and announced a winner of the Rathskeller's table and all that stuff. Both of those I thought were really great videos, so you guys should go back on the channel and check that out after you finish asking me questions here. If you could bling out any game you haven't already upgraded, what would it be? I mean, I'd love to have like get my ships painted in Twilight Imperium and maybe like upgrade some of the opponents to that. Maybe make it have a nicer insert and stuff. I really love Twilight Imperium 4th edition, so it'd be really cool to have that one blinged out a lot. I haven't actually done anything to the game at all, besides I have like a mouse pad that helps me keep track of the turns that I've had since Twilight Imperium 3. But I love that thing. It helps you keep the turns moving, and actually I feel like it cuts down a lot of time on the game, making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. Any news on the marathon? What are the plans? Oh man, it's going to be awesome. I'm not sure what all Tom said about the marathon so far, but I know it's going to be the beginning of the week of Thanksgiving, like the very first, like that Monday and Tuesday. I'm not sure. He hasn't even said how many hours it's actually going to be yet. But I think we're trying to do awesome stuff. I really want to try to get everything edited and nice graphics and everything in place. And we're going to try to have like videos in between, like different segments while we're doing games, and like have contributors join in on stuff. We really want to make it like a big production deal, and we're trying to do like game giveaways and all sorts of exciting things. So definitely stay tuned to the channel for Tom to give more information about that. But I'm definitely super excited about trying to put all that stuff together, and that should be coming up really soon. That'll be like the focus here after everybody gets back from Essen, besides just getting all the new games reviewed. It's going to be making sure everything's in place for that marathon. So what is the largest player count you have played for Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, and what do you think is the best player count for Heroes? I've played at 8 players for Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. The rulebook only lets you go up to 7, but I brought my own floating island to add with Tom's floating island to make it into an 8-player game. And I'm pretty sure I'm the only person that's played an 8-player game of Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. So Gamelin Games was like freaking out when they're like, what? 8 players, next time do 10. And I'm like, you guys, whatever. But honestly, 8 was a lot. Even though it was like, I'm pretty sure it was like 7 new players and me. So I can teach that game really well. And we played it relatively quickly. I think it was like 4.5 hours or something like that, which isn't bad, or maybe like 4 hours. But yeah, for 8 players in a game, that's a 4x game. That's insane. But also, I think the best player count is, I really enjoy 5. I would say 4 if you just have the base game, obviously. because I like the higher player counts just because you get to do those follow actions more. But five's really cool when you have, my favorite way to do it is to have the baseboard and then the floating island in the middle of the baseboard. So you get that cool 3D effect with the floating island, but then there's enough players in the game to make it so that like the follow actions are really like flowing. Everybody's following each other and you're trying to make sure you're timing the following actions right and building your empire. And you can definitely get attacked from any side when you're playing 5 players. But yeah, I think 5 is really cool. She said, sorry, I wasn't judging you or anything. Just curious if you listen to other kinds of punk music. Yeah, I listen to all sorts of alternative music. And I mean, I used to listen to a lot more like hardcore stuff and things like that back in the day. And a lot of like post-hardcore. But yeah, you know, I had just been recently watching a bunch of YouTube videos about like the rise and fall of different genres of punk music. So I just thought it was funny. So yeah, Dave Luza in the house. He's probably gone by now. But hey, Dave, I hope you had a blast at Essen. Oh man. Ken says, I would love to see you and Tom go one-on-one in HeroScape. I don't think I've played HeroScape with anyone except like my brother-in-law and stuff like that when he was like much younger. So I haven't played like a big game of HeroScape with like gamers ever. So it would definitely be interesting to see more of what that game actually has to offer because I've only like dabbled in HeroScape. And I know HeroScape is one of Tom's favorite games and it's all over the studio. So he has like some in one stuff over there and he has a whole bunch in the kitchen and stuff. And yeah, there's HeroScape everywhere. But yeah, that would be cool to see someday. The setup would be crazy, I'm sure. What's up? Let's see. Huh. Lots of different people replying to each other and talking, which is awesome. What's your favorite thing about working at the Dice Tower? I don't know. I feel like maybe the opportunity to help grow the board game community and bring gamers closer together and get people excited about board games. I mean, I really enjoy, doing the editing and stuff is fun, and it's cool to see all the hot new games, but I'm really interested in just getting people in general more excited about board games and more passionate about coming together and building relationships around the table. And I mean, there's a huge opportunity for that here at the Dice Tower, and it's cool to I do a lot to try to bring I really want our contributors to be closer together and closer knit and more part of the Dice Tower family. And then it's just cool to hang out with the guys every day. And I mean, behind the scenes, talking about board games and having fun, talking about this movie or that movie or this thing or that thing. And all the inside jokes are fun. I mean, playing the games and stuff is cool, but it's really the people that really matter. So everybody out there who the Dice Tower has gotten excited about board games, it's really cool, and how those board games and bringing them around their table has strengthened their bonds with their friends and family is just really cool and really important. And I think there's more of a message there than just editing some videos and throwing them up on the internet to try to get views and things like that. I feel like there's lots of cool opportunities here, so I really enjoy that. But yeah, play board games and have fun, but also don't force people to play board games. Just, hang out, do cool things. Yeah. Do you miss doing your own podcast / reviews on your own schedule? Oh, Graham. Hey, Graham, what's going on? I mean, I guess the Spaces Between podcast that I started, which Graham was just on, and that video will go up live today at 5 p.m. I still have to edit it. But it's because I've been out of town. But I really enjoyed doing all that stuff, reviews and stuff. I could technically do reviews and stuff if I wanted to, but it's all like I have to get all the rest of my work done first, and I could still do those here and do whatever. But it's like, do I work on improving different stuff and working on graphics and maybe doing new intros, or do I try to put up another review when the guys are doing so many reviews as it is already? I guess we'll see what ends up happening and how things shake up when things change over at the beginning of the new year. But I really enjoy just working with the schedule that we have here too. And I do miss being on Epic Gaming Night. That was a ton of fun, and I miss like hanging out with Rob and Matt, my co-hosts and stuff, and talking to them all the time. But I also really enjoy the new podcast I've started, Spaces Between, which is live in the Facebook group every Monday, and then it goes up on YouTube the following week. So like I interviewed Graham last week, and it's going to go up this week. I'm really excited. I'm going to have Joel Eddy on the podcast and interview him tonight. That's really cool because I still have an opportunity to talk to all these cool people and learn from them. So if you stop by the Facebook group tonight, I'll be streaming there, interviewing Joel Eddy from Drive Thru Reviews. If you haven't checked out the podcast yet, just search Spaces Between on your favorite podcast app, whether it's iTunes or Google Play or whatever it is. Still trying to get that stuff all off the ground because I know a lot of people don't necessarily know about it, or maybe they don't know this person or that person, but hopefully you can join us and learn more about different contributors on the Dice Tower and different designers and different board game media personalities. And hopefully I get to talk to lots of awesome people. Like Graham. Oh, Darth says, I miss you guys at Epic Gaming Night. Hype! Darth was like always in the chat when we did live stuff and was always there for the fun and the silliness. Oh man, Darth. I'd pour one out for the Epic Gaming Night podcast, but I don't have anything to pour out. But yeah. Hype! Let's see. Did you get a chance to check out Tainted Grail? Tom did his review. 30-second thoughts. No, I didn't get a chance to play it. It came in. He played it with Jason, and then the other guys played it here on a Saturday when I was hanging out with the family. So I haven't got a chance to play Tainted Grail. It looks cool. I'm interested in like the whole story aspect and stuff of it, but who knows if I'll ever play it. It's another one of those like campaign things. And once again, like, I got into board games to not have to schedule things with the same group. I could throw it on the table with anybody, so it's just so hard to play those kind of games. I still have to play through Journeys in Middle-earth. I really want to spend more time playing that too, so it's so hard to get into all these different games that are a commitment, you know. I would do an escape room with you, Roy, Tom, Z, Sam, and Eric. Not to escape, but to have fun with all the banter being thrown around. I don't even know if we could escape. What are you trying to say? You trying to say that the Dice Tower crew can't figure out how to get out of an escape room? I guess it depends on the escape room, but I don't know. I think we could do it. I think we could make it happen, but who knows? There's actually an escape room on the cruise, which is kind of cool. So the Dice Tower cruise has like an escape room. I don't know if they change it over from year to year. Maybe I'll have to try to make that happen this year with my wife. That would be really cool. So I know your tastes. What are your 3 favorite games and mechanisms? So my number 1 is Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. My number 2 is Twilight Imperium. So very similar on those 2 games. Twilight Imperium would be my number 1 if I could get it to the table more. And that's the main reason Heroes is my number 1, just because I really love the fantasy. I love 4X. I love building up the resources, gathering those, trying to figure out how to min-max those to end up getting victory points, but also being able to utilize those to actually attack and do different things like that. I'm guessing I'm not really sure what my number 3 is. It's probably War of the Ring. I really enjoy that game as well. So lots of area control. I also like cooperative games. Like Mansions of Madness is pretty high, but it's probably in my top 5. I really enjoy cooperative games. and I really enjoy the Arkham Horror LCG. I'm not 100% sure like the order that everything is currently. I haven't done like my top 10 games of all time in a little while, or top 100, who knows? That's been years, so maybe someday. But yes, I like lots of super thematic games that have interesting mechanics that you have to think about, like resource management and engine building type stuff maybe, but then also give you that like deep theme and can have some like cool stories and lots of interactions with the players. That's my style of game. Who's the tech guy at the Dice Tower? I guess it depends on what tech you're talking about. Kenny, who's our behind the scenes guy, he does everything. Like Kenny is the unsung hero of the Dice Tower. He does so much stuff. But he helps us out. Like if the internet goes down, he calls them and fusses at them. And I mean, I work with a lot of all like the camera stuff and setting up all that stuff and making sure the lights and stuff are right. But Kenny helps with a lot of other like maintenance and mechanical, and like if tech goes down, he figures out how to get it fixed as well. So it depends on what it is, but I would say probably as far as job title for tech guy, that might actually be Kenny. So he has to like, if our computers aren't working, he'll call Apple and stuff like that. So Kenny's the man. Hey Roy, are there any board games you would recommend people stay away from? Either games that just didn't work or didn't suit you. I don't know. I normally try to be positive, and I like the games that are super positive. Is there anything recently that I tried? Man, there's been so many games that just kind of like missed or just kind of like meh. Honestly, I would just say make sure to watch Tom's reviews. I don't want to necessarily crap on something without giving like good reasons why, you know. That's what reviews are for, so that way you can give well thought out opinions on like. And majority of the times, I don't get to play the games enough since I'm not reviewing them to be like, this is bad and this is why it's bad, you know. But yeah, there's definitely some games that are less cool than others, and there are so many good games and great games out there that's what I think reviewing is like the service to the community that helps people see a game, see it thrown out on the table, let them know about the mechanics, and they can decide for themselves if they really like it. Just because there's not enough time to ever play all the good and great games, there's no reason to waste your time on an okay game, you know. What did you think of the Trogdor board game? That's a game that I actually thought about doing a review on. I just need to play it again with more people. I played it a couple times solo, so I haven't really played it with a variety of people. But yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I feel like the nostalgia's there more than anything because I really enjoyed Trogdor and the Homestar Runner stuff. I grew up on that stuff and it was super awesome. But the Trogdor board game was really cool, I thought. But I need to play it again with more people to actually form a solid opinion on how it goes and what it is. It's basically like you're just Trogdor running around trying to burninate and burn up villagers and burn up all the different stuff while avoiding knights and archers and things like that. Definitely super interesting game, and it's cool that a company that made like a web like series of like cartoons and stuff like that got into board games, especially when they used to do it so long ago. I love the Homestar Runner stuff. It just shows how big board games are getting, that like everybody's getting in on it, you know. How far have you made it into Journeys in Middle-earth? Have you tried the DLC campaign? I think I'm like halfway through, maybe more than halfway through. I played a bunch of games solo. I played a couple games not solo, but then I played like, I don't know, like 8 to 10 games solo or whatever. So I feel like I'm probably 2/3 of the way through the first campaign, and I downloaded the DLC, but I haven't played through it. I wanted to kind of do some of that stuff live for my house, but time is always a thing, you know. There's so many things to do and always stuff. Maybe when stuff calms down, I can make that happen. Let me know if that'd be something that people would actually want to watch. How long does a usual playthrough of Twilight Imperium take? Okay, it depends. Are you playing with someone who knows the game? Are you playing it for your first time? It is a bear, like when you're learning the rules and trying to play through it for your first time, just because there's so much going into the game. But if you have a solid teacher and somebody who can be on it when it's people's turns, the turn structure is kind of interesting because depending on the action card you take, depends on your turn order. And that's why I have this little like disc thing that like you can put all the different factions on there. You can be like, okay, your turn, okay, your turn, okay, your turn. And that way you can bust it out. I played a 6-player game at Dice Tower Con a couple years back for the Jack Vassal Memorial Auction with Crystal and Ambi from Board Game Blitz and Sam and Nick, who won our basically the Jack Vassal Memorial Auction to be able to play the game with us. So that game took like 6 hours for 6 players, which is still a lot of time. It's like 5.5, 6. And I recently played a 4-player game that we busted out in 5 hours, or actually 4.5 hours. So like if you're on it and if you know the rules and you can really bust through them quickly, but your first time playing the game is probably going to be quite long, and you just have to make sure that everybody's on the ball, make sure they're taking their turns, make sure we know what phase it is, make sure we're following through. But it always helps when somebody knows the game really well. And I definitely have played Twilight Imperium a bunch of times. Ta-da! Okay, without revealing too much about the game you are making, what has been the greatest challenge while making it a reality? I don't know. I've actually been super surprised about how receptive people have actually been to it. Like, people have been really excited. I guess the main challenge is trying to just waiting. There's so much of this stuff that people don't realize in game design, where it's like once you give it to a publisher, then you have to wait and see if they actually want to pick it up. And then if they actually want to pick it up, then, I mean, I'm not even to that stage yet, but it'd be like, okay, now it's got to get like developed a little bit more, and they have to figure out they're going to do art and graphics and everything. Like when a board game comes out, you're like, oh yeah, they just designed this board game and it came out. It takes years for board games to come out. So it's pretty crazy, because majority of these companies have like when you get a game and it's going to be published by them, it's going to come out like 2 years later. When you see a Kickstarter, they've been working on this game for well over a year. They're finally bringing it to Kickstarter, and then it's still going to take like another year for people to get it. Just the amount of time is probably like the crazy part. But I mean, relatively, I feel like things have moved pretty fast with stuff. But now I feel like I'm back to square zero on that. So who knows? If you're a publisher, hit me up. No, I'm just kidding. I've got plenty of people I'm talking to. What's up? Stella from Meeple University says, "Hey Roy, hope to see you at the next convention. Where will you go next?" I will definitely be at PAX Unplugged. So I know that's another con here in the U.S. That would be crazy for somebody from Australia to go to from the future. But yeah, I'll be there, and that'll be fun. And then I'll be on the Dice Tower Cruise and Dice Tower West and all that stuff going into next year. But I think PAX Unplugged is pretty much the last one. I guess Board Game Geek Con's coming up, but I'm definitely not going to that. So, awesome. All right, well, I've come to an entire hour, so I just want to bring this to a close and say thank you to everybody for joining me. There's going to be lots of awesome stuff. Make sure to tune back in tomorrow for the gigantic Essen reveal of all the things we got and unboxing of all that stuff. I'm sure Tom will come back super excited and ready to go to work on more stuff for the Dice Tower. I know there's going to be reviews coming up from Tom. Not 100% sure what those are, but we're going to be doing all of our normal stuff. I know we're going to do crowd surfing, and then we shall also be doing the Board Game Breakfast live show, and then also I think coming up soon. It might be this Friday. We're going to be doing a Funkoverse thing, which I'm pretty excited to actually play that game and check that out. We're going to be building teams and battling off against each other. So make sure to come back for all of that stuff. Thanks everybody for asking me tons of questions. Y'all are all amazing. Definitely make sure to check out all the things we're doing all over the Dice Tower. And I'll see you all on the next time. Peace. Bye.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.